Hi guys, I'm Ashley Velasquez and today I will be doing my presentation on Hazel Ying. Hazel Ying Lee was born in Portland, Oregon on August 24th. Hazel Ying Lee was born in Portland, Oregon on August 24th, 1912. She was the second kid out of 8. She was born to two Chinese immigrants during the height of the Chinese Exclusion Act. The Chinese Exclusion Act was created to suspend immigration from China and make it so Chinese immigrants were unable to receive citizenship. This created tons of racial intolerance towards Chinese immigrants and Chinese Americans. Lee was known to be adventurous. At the age of 19, after graduating high school, she discovered flying for the first time. She would go on to work as an elevator operator in order to pay for her private lessons. Eventually, though, she was sponsored by the Portland Chinese Benevolent Society. During this time, China was being invaded by Japan. Many Chinese Americans, including Lee, traveled back to China to help fight. The Chinese Air Force turned Lee away, however, as they didn't accept women at the time. This didn't completely stop her, as she decided to work a military desk job. This also didn't stop her from flying completely, though, as she was one of the few first female pilots in China flying commercially. Eventually, though, she started feeling hopeless for China's future after the bombing of Canton. She would then go back to the USA. In 1943, Lee signed up for the Women's Flying Training Detachment. She was accepted into the program and started a rigorous 6 months of training. She was one of two Chinese American pilots accepted into the program. The other one was named Maggie G. They would receive heavy discrimination from their male counterparts. After graduating the program, the WAF merged with the WFTD and were renamed into the WASP. Her job as a WASP was transporting aircraft from factories to military bases. She had become known for her fearlessness and quick thinking. On October 1943, Ying married a Chinese Air Force major named Louis Yang Chun. She still faced heavy discrimination. One time, she had to do a forced landing on a farm field. She was chased around with a pitchfork by the farmer as the farmer believed that she was Japanese. After managing to convince him that she was Chinese American and not Japanese, she was able to phone for assistance, during which she would start laughing while she retold the experience. November 10th, 1944, Lee's mission was to transport a P-63 to the Great Falls in Montana. Due to the bad weather, however, her mission was delayed. On November 23rd, the morning of Thanksgiving, the weather cleared and the mission continued. However, catastrophe would strike. Another pilot named Jeff Russell had been without a working radio. The control tower operators had become confused as to where they were located and were unable to give proper coordination. Both P-63s were approaching landing. Due to some confusion, Lee pulled up and collided with Russell. Russell was immediately pulled out. However, Lee was unable to be pulled out as she had been trapped and she was on fire. November 25th, 1944, Lee succumbed to her burns. 3 days later, her brother would also pass away due to dying in combat in France. They would be buried next to each other. The U.S. Air Force refused to pay for her funeral, as WASPs weren't considered part of the Air Force and were considered civilians. She was unable to be buried in the white section of the cemetery as well, despite her being a war hero. These are my sources. Thank you, and I hope you like my presentation.